story will focus on an artist named Lisu who is on his way to attend the launch of his newly released book. Every now and then Lisu looks in the rearview mirror to see the number of wrinkles on his face. He is so focused that he doesn't notice the figure in front of him. Yes, there was a man standing still in the middle of the road.
Oh
What
no.
the man was thinking immediately acted as if nothing had happened. When he arrived at the event, he was made uncomfortable by the receptionist who didn't recognize him, let alone having to introduce himself, even though it was at his own event. The event could be said to be a total failure due to the lack of interest from visitors. As for Brangs, he left because he thought just had made up his mind. When he intended to end the event, a woman named Jimin approached him to ask for his autograph and to state that she really admired him. Jimin had an accident when he was young. His leg had to be fixed, a tool to help things run smoothly. Because Jimin is the only person who appreciates Lisu, he invites him to lunch at an expensive restaurant as a form of gratitude after saving the event. Jimin's restaurant continues to encourage Lisu to keep going in his difficult time due to incidents that have been experienced, because apparently that is the reason why Lisu's career has really declined. In short, Lisu met his friend to see the performance of the young idol who had just been recruited by Lisu's friend. He only saw them with a cynical face, especially since they were still young and beautiful. Beautiful makes L even more annoyed. In that conversation, his friend advised Lisu to stop drinking alcohol. I was afraid that it would become a weapon for netizens to continue bullying him, especially after L had an accident in the past which was apparently caused by alcohol. Friend also warned Lisu to stop drinking alcohol. Still be careful mate, because according to the rumors he heard, his apartment mate named Gang had spread some bad rumors to the agency and even asked them not to give Lisu a role in several upcoming films. Confused brain made Lisu fall into the trap again. Alcoholic beverages. He took the time to drink at a bar while contacting his manager to ask for an explanation regarding what was happening at this time. The manager, who didn't want the problem to get more complicated, continued to make alibis Lisu wouldn't think badly of him. He promised to do whatever Lisu want to, like insert himself into the role, and gave her a new apartment. Of course you felt annoyed with the manager, who kept thinking she was stupid. Plus the presence of a man who talked to her made her annoyed. So to make sure she was okay, the mother also asked about the figure of the man who Lisu might have seen, and as best she could maybe report if you accidentally see him. Wandering around when you arrive at his apartment, which is located in a remote place, find several bills. Immediately contact the sender to apologize because you can't pay all of them. Just lie down again, wake up. Because his apartment mate, who is none other than Gan, has returned from Lisu's job is to keep looking at Gan's body with a look of hatred. feels uncomfortable seeing the young woman who has the potential to destroy his career, especially Sirkin's words which say that Gang has spread several bad rumors about him. Because of his impression of Gang, Lisu dares to act impolitely by entering his room and looking at him. Some of his messages with the manager were apparently true. What Gang's colleagues said continued to badmouth Lisu and intended to kill his career. Soon, even the manager himself was influenced by Gang, which made Lisu very angry and immediately looked for a reason to immediately vent his anger. When he saw the anger that still piling up made Lisa get carried away by the atmosphere, he immediately made a knife in front of him and saw his senior's hand was injured. Gang then treated it using Lisu's own ointment, apologizing for giving an excessive response that could have made Gang there. Sir, the calm period turned tense when Gangu got an answer after remembering the gay manner conversation that I kept explaining to him with the excuse of wanting to have reflexology in a very hot and enthusiastic way. But in the end, I started to intimidate him so that after we parted, Lisu started to drink his medicine, which was accompanied by glasses of hammer, which immediately caused him to lose to drinking too much. Yes, Lisu is very shocked when he realized that Dipper was lying. Stiff and lifeless, he remembered several things before he lost consciousness to convince himself that he was not the perpetrator. Lisu immediately contacted his manager to say that Dipper was dead. He hoped that the manager would come there quickly to sort everything out. The chaos that had just happened ended with the man demanding Matt from behind the curtain. Immediately followed him to continue the misunderstanding about what the person had just seen. Yes, it turned out that the person was the man who had just seen. This is being searched for by the sneaking around to look for where the man was. Suddenly saw the necklace he was wearing, remembering the incident several years ago when he accidentally hit a young man to death, where the daydream was immediately shattered when the man woke up again. And yes, after successfully putting the man in the trunk, Lisu immediately executed him using exhaust fumes so that he would not have to dirty his hands with Getty again when he was cleaning his hands that were covered in blood. Dipper rose from his death. Lisu was still unaware of that until finally in the middle of the night Lisu received a red envelope package from someone he didn't know. The courier didn't know who the sender was and only delivered it after getting a reward for sending the package. Liu was very surprised when he saw the contents of the envelope, which contained a photo himself who was taken secretly, even in the apartment when he went unconscious. Evolves himself. Another strange thing that happened. Game's corpse suddenly disappeared. Who knows where L come back. Contact Maynard so that he can get to his apartment faster. Lisu is angry with all this, spontaneously threw the letter anywhere where the paper fell, right near the blood stain that showed where the body of the Dipper Oh, taken, feeling that the stalker was playing with him, Lisa began to prepare some UNT equipment against Polly, but instead of the stalker who came, it was two police officers who intended to arrest the man. Mysteria has received a report that the man had just been hanging around. Nearby, Lisa tried to remain calm when facing the two police officers. He did not want to chase them away, could only allow them to patrol the area around. His apartment applause front yard with a nervous expression where the anxiety became more apparent when the police officers asked permission to enter the garage because they heard a strange sound from inside. There they only found some potatoes scattered around with a knife on top of the potato sack. Lisa, who had felt safe, was made worried again when the female police officer felt a stomachache and asked permission to use the toilet. Quickly cleaned up the blood that was stuck to every corner of the toilet. She hoped the police officer would not realize that there was a corpse in the middle. That's so. After finishing her bowel movements, the female police found where the corpse was being so that there is no other choice saying execute him right then and there. Then Lisa went to the other police officer to give him coffee and ask about who gave him the report regarding the crazy man who entered his apartment area late at night. In the middle of the conversation, the policewoman with the remaining strength walked out to tell him his friend if Lisu is a murderer. Instead of the police arresting Lisu, he instead approaches his friend. So this is what happened. A series of events that befell him made him very upset. He took the time to relax next to Gaines' corpse, hoping that this incident was just a dream where hope it all went wrong. When the electricity suddenly went out, Lisu started searching because he realized that the person who called him was really there. What happened was that he could only cry for his manager, who he accidentally killed. Same time, the mysterious person who had been toying with him came. And yes, it turns out that the mysterious person is Jimin, who really liked Lisu. I did all that just to teach Lisu a lesson because Lisu had gone astray and disappointed her. Own fans. Back when Jimin was still in high school, his school was in the countryside, except a new student with a very beautiful face named Yuli. Jimin, who is annoyed by her beauty and her dream of becoming an artist, immediately plays a trick on her by taking her into the forest. On the way, Jimin occasionally asks Yuli about her motivation for wanting to become an artist. Yuli answers that she really idolizes a child artist who is none other than Lisu, and starts to become obsessed with becoming an artist like her on the grounds that Lisu is a smart, beautiful, and strong person. Of course, makes Jimin continue to force Yuli to continue following him because that will make Yuli's mentality stronger, so that her dreams become reality and artist will be one step closer. Not arriving in the middle of the forest, Jimin began to scare him with some intimidating words where Jimin went too far. So this is what happened after Yuli's death, Jimin was determined to do anything that could make him smile in the afterlife. However, because of the person he admired, instead deviating from the path
Problems
and
would
causing
certainly
a lot
make
of Yuli feel sad, so Jimin decided to end his life before the mission went any further, and disappointed Yuli, who really idolized him. The next day, Jimin brought Lisu and the body of the policewoman entered the same forest where she had taken Yuli. She intended to end it there when Lisu was still unconscious due to the effects of the drug. It turned out that Lisu had been conscious since earlier. She pretended to be asleep so that would be off guard so that he could pull away. ELA, with his problematic legs, Jimin certainly couldn't chase him, while Lisu remained hidden behind the trees until finally Lisu finally managed to end everything perfectly by drowning them in the lake and immediately reflecting on the series of events that he had just